Live.
Yeah.
Oh, we're live. Right, hi guys. It's Nick and Zaheer for our weekly little hangout. So how are you doing, Zaheer? You all right, buddy?
Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Just enjoying the tremendously hot weather. And not doing much work, unfortunately. I've not done barely any work this last couple of weeks. But apart from that, yeah, everything's really good.
I heard that you were abusing fridges earlier. Do you want to share?
Um, I suppose I could. I picked this up over the weekend. It's a penny skateboard. It's a cruiser board, and I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was a nice
why.
pickup. Nice pickup that as well.
Yeah, penny boards are expensive. I mean, these things brand new are like £100 plus. I mean, you'll know if it's penny, by the way, if it's got like the logo everywhere. So it's on the trucks, on the wheels, on the board itself, and they're
Yeah.
penny Australia. But yeah, I picked this up at the weekend, and I just, I don't know. I've been trying to balance on it for the last couple of days, and it's been going okay, except like today where I slipped and the board went flying from under my feet and went straight towards the fridge, and it's left a dent in the fridge. So that's not going to be good considering we're moving out next week, and I've just damaged the landlord's fridge. So that's going to have to
Oh,
come
it's
out.
not your fridge.
No, it's not my fridge.
Oh shit. Put a big fridge magnet over the dent.
Yeah, but the thing is, the positioning of the dent means it would look really dodgy. Like, what have you got a magnet doing there? Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't look right. I don't think that would work. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna have to stomach the damage. I mean, the fridge is fine, but yeah, you know, it's board went at some speed. I tell you, it's not. It's just it's one of those things. I don't know why. I want to start skateboarding now, or at
So
least
how
cruising.
How have sales been? My eBay has slowed up quite a bit, but Amazon luckily has been ticking along quite well, so that's kept me going really.
Overall for July, I've had a really good July so far. I've done really well. Last 7 days has been pretty awful, pretty atrocious. But you know, it's kind of that's quite a good point because I mean, like I said, I've had a overall, I'm very happy. I've actually been going up. I was looking at my sales from like May, June, July, and it's steadily my sales are increasing, which is really positive, especially when you're thinking that you know the summer months are meant to be the quiet months. So it just shows that that I'm doing something right. But it's quite a good reminder that I think when you're a reseller, you've got to keep that football manager attitude of you're only as good as your last game. And as soon as you take your foot off the pedal, you might get lucky. Like I think I got lucky for a week or two where I still was getting good sales, but I've not listed now for probably 2 weeks, like a fresh proper listing. I've done relists and sell similar, but I've not actually been listing and putting more items on for coming up to 2 weeks now. And yeah, I think it's caught up with me in the last few days. Last 7 days have been really dead. Just really like I've actually had two no sale days as well, like in a row, which is quite rare. But I'm not concerned at all because I know that completely it's under my control. I mean, if this had happened to me a year ago, I would have been like, oh God, maybe I should go and get a job. I'm worried. I would have been freaking out. But yeah, it's no big
Yeah.
thing.
You do certainly get more and more used to it over time. It still gets to you. I think when I'm tired and run down, that's when it really gets to me. But I've seen the ups and downs over the years, and I'm fairly used to it. But what you were saying is true. It's relentless, this, because let's say you have a good week, you still have to keep on listing and keep piling the stuff on. Otherwise, you will see a dip the next week, sort of thing. And my eBay is pretty poor. I haven't been listing as much as I should. I've still been pumping stuff up to Amazon, which is kind of saving me at the moment. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is relentless. The continued listing, no matter how good a week you're having, you need to keep
It is,
piling it
yeah.
on there.
I mean, the nice thing was obviously we've got the move coming up, so we're really not in the zone at the moment. Rebecca's last day at work is tomorrow. My youngest daughter finishes her primary school tomorrow, so there's going to be tears on both sides. Like you know, they're both going to be a bit emotional, I'm guessing, because they you know like Beck loves her job. She had the great team that she's got there, so she's going to be a bit sad to leave that. But I think you know, and it's kind of distracted me as well. I know that's an easy excuse. I've been playing Pokemon and skateboarding, but the but The thing is, though, it's what saved me, I think, has been my high ticket sales. Like because I've been going, to auction and spending a bit of money. The high ticket sales have come in and they've really saved me. I've made a couple of sales which have added up massively. So that's always a nice thing to have.
Yeah. Did you sell that keyboard in the end then?
I did, mate. I did. I took an offer for £450 plus shipping. So
Wow.
I was more than pleased because I was in it for 138. So 450. I'm not going to argue. I had it up at 529, and I'm sure if I'd been, I mean, I actually had a really nice guy actually messaged me on my video about it. He was into them, and he's actually got two himself, and he reckons eventually they're just going to keep appreciating in value. But it's not what I'm into to store it and keep it. And yeah, I could make a few cool sounds out of it, but it wasn't. I'm not a synth guy. Do you know what I mean? So I did what I needed to do. So yeah, that was a decent sale for me from 138 to 450 plus shipping. I'm not gonna not gonna complain with that.
Yeah, that was good. And that was an auction pickup, right?
Yeah, I mean, all my high ticket items have been auction pickups. I mean, I've had a couple others. I bought like a motocross helmet as well. I paid 122 for that. I flipped that for 315. But the thing is, you've got to be ballsy on a couple of levels, not just to spend the money, but shipping wise as well. So, for example, if global shipping doesn't cover something, you still shouldn't be afraid to ship an expensive item. Get the insurance, get the tracking, get everything to cover yourself. But obviously, be brave enough to do it. And the price is the price. So if someone overseas wants to buy something, the guy that actually sold the helmet to was like, I can offer you. I think his offer was like 280 plus $30 he wanted to pay for shipping because when I do global shipping program, just like you do, but I
Mm.
also have on all my listings, I'll ship worldwide. So if global shipping doesn't cover a country or global shipping doesn't cover a specific category, um, it automatically then switches to my shipping worldwide. And I've just written flat rate cost, so the buyers have to contact me um, to get a price.
Oh, that's a good idea. So you
Yeah,
leave it open so you
that's right.
don't potentially lose that big sale just for the
Yeah.
sake of shipping. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
exactly. And the other thing is, I mean, there's a couple of downsides. It means you can't really use immediate payment with PayPal because the buyer has to wait for you to send them an invoice
yeah, to get a
with the correct
quote. Yeah.
shipping. But considering I've got best offer on so many of my items anyway, which I didn't have previously, but I just do now, and I tend to have that anyway. So yeah, I think being willing to ship to these countries has really helped me, especially when it comes to other categories as well, like video games. I shipped like 130 quid of Amiga games to some guy in, I think it was either Denmark or one of those countries.
So
Um,
I
you know,
was going to ask, do you know
mm,
what categories they're picky about with the GSP? Because to be honest,
yeah,
I haven't really looked into it. I switched it on and left it, to be
yeah.
perfectly frank. So what are they picky about shipping abroad then?
Well, when when you're actually listing the item, it will actually say to you global shipping is not available. So you might have global shipping enabled in your settings, but say you go to then list an item, if a category isn't covered by global shipping, a little notice comes up at the top of your
I think I
yeah,
have seen that when I'm listing directly on eBay, but
yeah.
I tend to use a listing program, so I probably
So
don't
you
even.
don't see it, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I know that video games are currently no, which is quite a massive thing, especially if you're selling retro.
yeah.
That that has to go. You have to do that yourself. Um, the snowboard I sold, I mean, it's a bit of a niche item, but the snowboard would have been me shipping it myself because even though global shipping said it would have covered it. When you put in the dimensions like extra large items, it takes you out of the global shipping program. So you have to bear that in mind. I'm There's probably quite a few items out there actually which global shipping doesn't cover, but the one that most people will probably be affected by will be video games, consoles, things like that. You have
Yeah.
to be willing to ship those yourself.
I'm going to have a look into that actually. That's it's one of those things. I mean, I should be more paying attention to these details,
Yeah,
but I literally switched it on when it came out, and I've
yeah.
seen a lot of sales from that, and I've just left it. Actually, talking about shipping, I came across, I picked up a lawnmower from
Mhm.
Facebook. I bought, for those of you, I don't know if I shared it on any of my videos, but for those of you watching, I picked up a lawnmower and a strimmer set. It's a decent Ryobi one, and the guy wanted 40 quid for it. He'd barely used it. The guy had actually astroturfed his garden, so he had no use for it. I
Oh
thought that
wow.
was hilarious. And anyway, yeah, he's astroturfed his whole back garden. Anyway, so he didn't
That's
need a lawnmower.
that's peculiar. Sorry, I have to reflect on that. I mean, who
Man,
does that?
I
But
don't know.
okay,
Apparently, it's a thing now. There's companies that will do it for you. It's a big thing.
astroturf your garden. Okay, fair enough.
With a lazy gardener in all of us.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. You can't see my lawn from here, but it's a mess. Anyway, so I picked up for 40 quid and I sold it for 100, well, 100 total, so 85 with 15 shipping. But then I was going to send it Hermes, packaged it all up, took it down there, and the guy refused it because it was only just, but it did fold up, but it was bigger than their maximum requirements. So I then had to take it back, and Hermes were fine with it. I had to go on their chat, and it's now a pending refund, but I
Yeah.
had to send it via Parcel Force in the end. And I was still just about covered with what I charged them. But yeah, I've never had that with Hermes. Have you ever tried to ship something and it been refused with
I've,
Hermes?
yeah, I mean, I've not had it. I've had to use alternate carriers. Yeah, I mean, the snowboard was actually one of those items. Luckily, it went to someone in the UK, but because of its length, I had to send it via Parcel Force or UPS. I can't remember now. But by the way, we should just say we've got 55 people watching, 7 thumbs up. So, and we've had quite a few comments. So we'll quickly just catch up with those. Hixie says, "What's up?" Julie Whitmarsh says, "Hey guys, boot fairs are going to be packed if this weather continues." Oh, if this weather continues, this weekend would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I
So,
think it's all set to finish next couple of days, this heat spell, I heard. I don't know. I mean, the storms are brewing here, actually.
yeah, I
If
mean,
I
it's
run inside, it's because the downpour has
it's
come.
raining, yeah. Kieran says hi. Chelsea says evening. Kenneth says hi. Ken Chapman. Is it Sijinx says eBay sales stop for a few days, then there's a rush of orders, then quiet again. Sure, listings are hidden somehow. I wouldn't get into that kind of a mindset about them eBay actively hiding your listings. I mean, I, I'm sure it may happen, but try to just focus on what you're doing is what I would say. I mean, they've put out videos about things like this as well. That obviously, if you've got a listing which maybe has a title with keywords that aren't relevant, and lots of people are clicking at your listing expecting to find something and then realizing it's not and not buying it, so you're getting lots of views. eBay themselves have openly said that will push your listing down the rankings because you're getting clicks, but it's not turning into watches and it's not turning into any offers or anything like that or purchases. So if that happens, then your listings do get pushed down. I actually saw a video that was linked on the Scavenger Life on their blog page. They had a video which I think it is a really good video. It's some guy from eBay doing like a chat explaining how best match works. So it's worth watching, and I'd say don't get into that so much. What do you say, Nick?
Yeah, well, there's quite a few different conspiracy theories around about eBay switching your items on and off and all of that, and I don't really buy into it. But let's say they do that. There's no point in spending time worrying about that because what are you going to do? Ring up eBay and moan at them? They're not going to listen. And, if they are doing it, it's up to them, and we just have to put up with it. So just like you said, concentrate on the things you can do something about, which is just piling the stuff on there.
Piling them on. That's it,
Because
exactly.
if that's what they do and they turn listings on and off, I'm
Good
afraid
on
we can't
them.
do
Yeah.
anything about it.
Exactly. Recycle says, "Good evening, all. My last 2 months eBay have been slow, but the last 10 days have been good." Everyone's experiences always differ, don't they? Caroline says hi. Gary says hi. Yeah, I mean, Hicks is saying too busy playing Pokemon Go. Yeah, I've been playing Pokemon Go.
I'm refusing to download it. My
Uh,
daughter Helen is really into it now, and I did have a play, and I caught a drowsy, I think it
oh
was the
yeah,
other
yeah.
day. And yeah, oh yeah, I need to say hi to Hixie. And how are your arms? He was painting all day today. He phoned me up earlier, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm hot and bothered painting."
God, yeah, he's always busying himself, isn't he?
Oh, he's a grafter. I love Steve. He's a
He
hard
is.
worker.
Legend. Jeff Solar says, "Hi guys, congrats to Nick for his 1,000,000 views. Yeah, congrats on that, Nick. Amazing.
Yeah,
Have been with
crazy.
you from the start, and you have really helped me with my part-time selling. Also, when are you listing the NRL shirt?"
Oh, I have a heap of shirts. I've actually recently washed the ones that needed washing. I've got about 20 shirts, football shirts, and other shirts that need listing. I've got a backlog that is ridiculous, guys. I've been struggling to keep up. You know me.
It's hard, isn't it? I mean, I'm in a bit of a limbo now because part of me is like, actually, I should just put my shop on holiday now, because we're literally down to it's the 21st. I mean, I'm meant to be out of here in 10 days.
Yeah,
So,
how are you feeling? Are the nerves kicking in? Are
oh
you
God
excited?
almighty. I
How do you
think,
feel?
yeah, I'm nervous, excited. I think Rebecca's a bit sad because she's like, she's still working, but she's going to be a bit sad for leaving the team that she's got. She really loved working with the people there. And I think plus she's also moving like me, but also she's now got to start being self-employed as well. So she's got like a triple threat to manage, I suppose. So she's got that to cope with. But overall, the mood is a good one. I mean, we've been a bit snappy with each other the last couple of days, but I'd say that's probably down to the whole thing. Um,
Yeah, well, the stress, whether you know,
yeah,
the stress will be building because,
exactly.
like you say, especially for Becky, she's leaving a job she
Yeah,
likes and she
yeah,
likes the people and she's
yeah.
been there a number of years, plus moving to a different part of the
Moving
country and
plus,
starting a new job effectively.
yeah, it's
It,
yeah. She's taken on a lot in one go, and I think that's something to I think that's something to kind of for me to bear in mind about that. I mean, and the kids have been surprisingly good. I mean, my older daughter Hannah, she's 13. She had her last day on Wednesday, and so she was a bit upset. She had a friend that she's going to keep in touch with on the phone, well, on WhatsApp or whatever. But it's a bit sad, in that sense, and she's going to have to be the new kid at school. Luckily, my youngest daughter's going to have it slightly easier because she was going to be switching schools anyway. But still, I mean, it's always a big ask to move up 260 miles away, and it's going to be interesting. I'm
it will
really
be.
looking forward to it.
I admire you guys for having the balls to do it. You know, it's very easy to say these things and to have these ideas, but to follow through and go
Yeah,
for
well,
it.
if you don't try, I
I was
mean,
going to say you have. I didn't realise how close you're going to be to Hixie. When I spoke to him on the phone earlier, look, you're
he's
like
down the
5 minutes.
road. He's down the road. It would be
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's literally where he lives. So yeah,
And
it's
how far is Ken? Because Ken's local to
Ken's
Hixie
not
as well.
far either. I think Ken can about 30-40 minute drive, maybe something along those lines. So yeah, I
Cool.
mean, it's something I'm looking forward to.
Can you
Bit of
hear that? That's
yeah.
a train. Can you hear that rumbling?
Oh, it's gone now. It's gone now. I was like, wow, what is
Yeah.
that? It sounded like a poltergeist or something.
There's a train. The other side of the houses on the other side of the road is the main Northern Line train.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, oh, we're getting quite a few messages in.
I was just going to say,
Hmm.
people will have noticed already we don't have a guest on, and we chatted about this a while back that our special guests won't be that special if they're here every week. Plus, we'll run out of interesting people to talk to. So every other week we're just going to wing it and talk to you guys via the questions and comments. So this is one of those. We're just going off piece and winging it tonight.
Yeah. I'm getting quite a few questions. Let's have a look. Um, oh God, bloody hell, this has gone fast, hasn't it? You guys are typing really quick. Maybe what we should do a thing like where you type it like a caps question or something. Okay. Congrats. Karen Bond says, congrats with the views, Nick. Sales this week have been awful on eBay. Thank goodness Etsy is good since glitch. Well, Etsy something I've not even looked at, which is something I'm like should we be looking at it in the UK? I mean,
Maybe. I think
I know that Rob
growing.
Hillary does it, doesn't he? Rob
Yeah, I
Hillary's,
think it's growing. When we used to be really into craft stuff, we
yeah,
used to do things with Scrabble tiles and Lego earrings and Lego tie pins and all that. We cross-listed on eBay and Etsy, but this is going back a couple of years, and we found it. We had sales through it, but it was nothing compared to what we could sell on eBay, so we just ditched it. But yeah, I'm sure. Well, as whoever that was just saying that their Etsy is busy, so it's obviously a platform that's taken off in the UK.
yeah, definitely. Okay, let's have a look. More questions about up north is down south. Okay, up north it is down south. It's sunshine. Okay. Um, so where am I moving to? Moving to Garstang, Nile, Gulliver. Mike says hi. Sup, tat junkies. Vitor Pinto says you guys rock. Thank you. Les eBay Magic says hi to everyone as well. Let's have a look. Niall Gulliver's a bit gutted because he had to send a parcel weighing 1,023 grams today. That's always annoying when you're using Hermes because obviously, unlike Royal Mail, where you've got a 2 kilo cover, haven't you, for a small parcel, Hermes allows bigger parcels, to be fair, but if you go over that 1 kilo mark,
Yeah, have
like,
you ever done the thing where a parcel, it doesn't affect me so much because I have work on averages, but I have, if I'm sending an individual one and it's like 20 grams over, have you ever done it where you take, undo the box, cut
repackage?
the flaps a bit smaller, you know what I mean? Take
Try
take the
to,
excess cardboard off, and you're there
yeah.
like a maniac for half an hour trying to get it under a kilo.
I used to. I have done it, but recently I'm a bit more lax now. Now I'm like, if it's over, it's over. It's the way it is. I think since starting to charge shipping as well on my items, I feel less fussed about it because at the end of the day, I'm just charging what the shipping is. So
Yeah,
and if I'm unsure, I'll always bump up the shipping a little bit if I think the weight's going to be over a certain amount. So that's something I'm going to do. David Morse asks, Zaheer, have you sussed out local boot sales and auctions for when you move? Well, luckily, like me and Nick were talking about, Hixie is going to be my chaperone for the Northwest, and so is Ken. They're gonna show me where all the
I
auctions are.
thought I thought they were gonna let your tires down and
Oh,
super glue
oh
your
no,
lock.
no, that's just how they talk up there. I think that's like an endearment. That was them being friendly. I think. I
Okay, right.
think. I don't know.
They're,
um,
they're being all friendly now, but when you rock
yeah.
up at their
When
auction,
the thing is, we will buy different things. It doesn't matter. I'm sure they'll be fine. There seems to be an auction every day there, to be honest. So,
I know.
um,
He was saying I'd love some of the stuff. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm going to get back into auctions, but I have
yeah,
a very little choice around here of
there's
where
only
to
a
go.
couple, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Hi guys, read the Spock reference above. People are mentioning Spock a couple of times, saying it's good for pickups. So
Oh,
that
cool.
have you been doing that or
No,
no?
I've seen the adverts, and it says like 8 million users. How did something that I thought was brand new suddenly have that many users? It's like,
Well,
really?
they did an advertising with two girls pillow fighting. I think I saw that. I remember. Yeah, I remember that. But that's it. I mean, like I've used it, but I kind of don't find it great so far because it seems to be one of those where people leave tons of offers and messages, and sometimes people don't reply. But obviously, it does work. It's like with anything, I suppose you just have to be persistent, don't you? So.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean Gumtree around here, there's just crap on it. I've had no pickups from Gumtree, but I was chatting to Ben Fitzpatrick, I think the last hangout we had, and he does really well. And I think in the big urban areas, it's kind of taken up more because you've got a lot more people in your area and a lot more things, and I can see how it would gain momentum. But it's not that I'm in the sticks; I'm in a small town, but I don't know. It hasn't seemingly taken off here, but I think in London, I know Joe does a lot of bits and bobs on Gumtree pickups and stuff, and selling on there. I think, but I hardly
yeah,
use it. Same with that Spock thing. I've not used it.
I don't know about you, but don't you think you develop a style, don't you? Like I mean, I don't want to kind of say, I don't know what you think, but you think this, don't you? I feel that since doing this, you develop a style in terms of how you like to do things, and I think that goes across the whole process from how you pick up your items to how you choose to sell them. And I think like some people can do well on places like Gumtree and the local ads and things like that, no matter where they are. But I think it comes down to how you like to source. Like for me personally, I found that things like the boot fair and auctions have tended to be the best because they they have good time value, if you know what I mean. Like you go to one place and it's all there in one go. So
Yeah.
yes, you're right. We might not get the special bundles to buy and break down. So for example, you know, we're not going to be able to get like an amazing uh like retro pickup from someone's loft. Things like that might not happen very often. But there's so much stock out there. There's so much volume, all in one place and within a set amount of hours. And that for me is really for me it just feels like a better way of sourcing, because then you can allocate that time on that day and you will come away with x, you know, numbers in inventory to list.
Yeah, I think we all just end up doing what works, and we
Mm.
probably sound like broken records sometimes, but you do what works for you, and what works for me that doesn't necessarily translate to another part of the country or another person's personality or way of doing things. And yeah, it's not to say that I couldn't do things other ways, and I have changed and mixed and matched over the years, but yeah, I source virtually all of my stuff at car boot sales, to be honest. I used to do a lot more eBay sniping, but I haven't been into that for whatever reason. I've just dropped out of the habit, really. But there's so much stock you can buy direct on eBay. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's partly habit and it's partly what suits your way of doing things, I think.
definitely. I think that's something you just learn, don't you, through because you try everything at first. I mean, I think since starting reselling, I've pretty much tried every source of stock. I mean, like I used to go to charity shops. I stopped doing that. I used to religiously look at Gumtree. I stopped doing that. I used to, you know, these are all
Well,
things, you know.
it can almost be overwhelming if you think I've got to have my finger on the pulse of all of these possible opportunities. It does become too much, and you just get
Mm,
scared that you're missing stuff. So I think over the years I've just got more relaxed and say I know I can do this and this, and that's my stock sorted, and it
yeah,
frees up my brain and my time to do other things. Because if I was constantly chasing RA opportunities or constantly looking at Facebook resale groups, which I do a bit more, I'm trying that more at the moment, but it's almost too much and it would just fill your brain and all of your time. So I think you just end up picking and choosing what works.
yeah, I remember that's another one actually. I spent a lot of time on Facebook sale groups, and you're right. I think you've got to value how calm you remain, or how stress how with working for yourself. You've got to take every opportunity that you can to relieve stress. And in a way, when you've whittled down your sourcing to a couple of things, it's nice because you can switch off from that, knowing that you're just going to kick into action where at the auction or at a particular boot fair or something. You know, you can almost switch off otherwise, and then you know when it's game time, that's it. You go for it.
And also, I
Mm.
think different people enjoy different things, and I love going to a car boot sale. It's
Yeah,
like I would do it for fun. If even if I didn't earn money doing it, I'd be there because I enjoy it. It's one of those sort of things. So going to the boot sale for me, it's hard work and it's a lot of leg work and all of that, but it's fun. It's a de-stress for me. Although it's work, I look forward to Saturday and Sunday or whenever I'm going to go. So yeah,
exactly. So true. Very true. Um, David Morse asked, "Do you guys plan to buy up some mini NES classics in November?" Personally, not me, but Nick
done it already.
done it already. There you go, on the ball. Um,
The thing
uh,
is, I don't have the sort of money I would normally have behind me because we've been bankrolling the shop and putting all our finances in that. So I have ordered a load, but nowhere near as many as perhaps I would. But that's one of those things that I think is potentially you could really make some good money on those. If not, you can just get your money back by taking them back or just cash them in for the going rate. I don't think you could possibly lose out, but you have the potential of doubling, tripling, quadrupling your money. So I see that as a safe gamble, to be honest.
Definitely. Vinny and Joe both mentioned that the post office sometimes give them a bit of leeway, which is nice. My post office isn't like that, but I don't go there that often now. And Joe also says, Joe is reselling for pennies, says, is Georgina Cat available as a special guest? I'm not sure, but Joe, when are you available? Because that would be something we'd be looking to sort
Yeah,
out at some point.
I did briefly, I think, chat with Joe and mention it, and he was up for it at one point. So yeah, we need to sort
Sweet.
that.
Sweet. Okay, here we go. Danny Thistleton, how are you going about records now, Zaheer? Have you stopped with the spreadsheets and recording a resale? Any chance of an updated video? Danny, that's kind of a good question. So you're asking, like, what do I do about my records now? I mean, a few months back, I think I made a video about a spreadsheet I was using. And again, this kind of works into doing what you end up working out is best for you personally. Um, I was keeping a spreadsheet, marking down every sale, and I was tracking it, and I was doing my sales reports. But it's not the best use of time, because if you actually look at your selling manager, eBay will tell you exactly what you sold for that month. They will tell you what their fees were. They will even tell you what the PayPal fees were as well. You don't even have to go anywhere for that. So all the info that you need really to do your taxes or whatever, it's all there in those reports, which you can download up to 2 years after the fact. I think they have like a limit. So if you go into selling manager and then you click on sales reports, all of this stuff is there as long as you've got an eBay shop. So when I saw that, I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't really need to do this spreadsheet. I can just note down how much I'm spending buying stock. So when I'm at the auction, they give me an invoice. When I go to a boot fair, I just make my own invoice of everything I've bought, how much I've paid for it. So I thought to kick it on the head for that reason, really. And I could do an updated video about that. But Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I remember seeing that actually, and other people have done similar spreadsheets. But the taxman doesn't need to know if you buy a keyboard how much profit you made on that one item. He doesn't need to know the breakdown of every item. And if you're going to the lengths of keeping that, it's only really for your own benefit. And I think when you're starting out and when you started out, it was helpful for you to
Yeah.
really see how much you were making and perhaps stop buying certain things or whatever. But beyond that, for the taxman, you don't need that level of detail. You just need how much you're spending, how much is coming in, essentially. Slightly more complicated, but that's essentially it. You don't need the individual how many pennies you made on each item. So it is a lot of work for very
Yeah.
little gap.
Yeah, if you do it, you're right, Nick. I think if you do it, it does work out that it's more for yourself. Like you said, it is more for yourself. Like if you can get something from it. I mean, like you said, it did help me in the sense that it was telling me which items were profitable versus what wasn't. But then when you get used to doing this so often, selling so many items, and then it just yeah,
Headset, I think.
oh, bloody headset. Bloody hate it. It's so frustrating. Is it back?
Sounds all right. You just started
Okay.
going all gargly.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was just saying that yeah, it is for you in the end. I mean, it did help me because it told me what the profit on return was on each item. So it just built up my mental database of what was profitable or not. But then the more you do it, the less you need to do it because then you kind of have an idea of how profitable something's going to be. And when you start doing higher ticket items, it becomes even less important because then you're not going to be making as big profit on return percentages, but the cash profit you'll be making is so great that you work on that and then you don't really need a spreadsheet. So that would be my answer to that. So yeah, but it's a good point because it's like an evolution, isn't it? It's like Pokemon, you evolve.
Oh, don't start with your Pokemon.
Uh, you can
You're
start.
you're you're hooked, aren't you, on this?
Oh mate, I am hooked. I am. I love it. We go on family walks in the evening.
I saw somewhere on a news feed on Google about Nintendo's share price went through the roof on the back of Pokemon Go and the NES Classic to the point where, for the first time in years and years, their company is worth more than Sony. This is
Wow.
on the back of that app that they didn't even produce. That's a third party app, just licensed, and
I,
Nintendo stock has like I don't know whether it's doubled or what, but yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
People have made a fortune if they got any stocks in Nintendo the last few weeks.
Definitely. Um, so look, any more questions? There we go. We've David McGregor. We've answered that one. Will you be buying up NES Minis for Christmas? Yes, we. Nick is already on that. I personally am not doing it. Just because it doesn't. I suppose this is where people differ. I suppose like I don't. I just don't get. Even though I know it's going to be profitable, I just don't do that kind of stuff. I don't do the Chewbacca mask or the NES or the Pokemon lapel thing. I'm just not going to do it. I just yeah. You
I
guys,
respect that.
yeah.
It's what floats your boat, and
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't do it for me.
just
But
because somebody is showing that they're doing something, this comes back to the whole video and copying thing. Just because somebody's saying, I went out recently. I did a video about it, but I haven't uploaded it. Where I was clearing shelves of toys again, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend everyone rush out and do that. It's a tricky thing to get right, and you have to invest that money and then slowly release it, or wait till December and then get it all back with profit on. So yeah, it's a tricky game, and I haven't mastered it by any length, and I've been doing RA since 2000 or so.
yeah. Had a couple of people actually saying negative things about Etsy, so you get both sides of the coin. Stacy Lee says used to sell on Etsy but struggle to get our item seen, and Les eBay Magic says Etsy is dire in customer service. Moving on, Nigel VGM asks, have you ever had any listings removed by eBay's Vero program, which protects the intellectual property rights of original brand owners? I've had a battle with VW.de over a Beetle model car. Nick, have you had anything removed?
Yeah, I had a strange. I had a CD removed, which was a U2 CD that was issued via their propaganda magazine, which is their fan club magazine, which had unique remixes and stuff. So I listed it. It's quite a valuable thing, and they took it down, saying that it wasn't ever released publicly, and I don't have the rights to resell it or whatever. So I had that one. Recently, this is quite an interesting one. You may have seen I picked up. This isn't to do with intellectual property, but I'll mention it now. It's on my mind. You know, I got that skin eczema ointment cream stuff.
Yeah.
All that. I listed it all, and then it's all actually sold. But while it was selling, I had a message from eBay saying this is prescription only medicine, and you're not allowed to sell it. So we've taken them down. But weirdly, then all the sales came in. So I don't know how that worked, but I sold them all. So be careful with that, because I put out there that it was a good thing to pick up, and I made good money on it, and it all sold within 24 hours or 48 hours.
Be
But yeah,
careful.
so I had those removed, even though they'd already sold. It was really odd.
Yeah. I mean, I've had, I think the only trouble I've had with the Vero program is with Microsoft. I've had a couple of listings removed where it was me selling like Microsoft Enterprise Office Suite, and it had the key and everything, but it was like an Enterprise edition, so apparently it's not for resale.
So what was it from the Star Trek ship?
Yes, it was the end. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that movie. Actually, I love the new Star Trek movies. But
Oh, I don't do the Star Trek thing. I love Star
I
Wars.
no,
I've never watched Star Trek.
I've never been into the TV show, but the movies are awesome. They're really
Okay.
good. But yeah, I mean, like I've been done by Microsoft a couple of times. So I'm a lot more careful about listing like Microsoft Office programs or ones that come. So for example, even if you've got the key, this admittedly it was my fault because it was an official CD. You could tell it had all the holograms and everything, but it did say not for resale on it. The only reason I listed it was because I'd seen a ton of other people sell theirs without any issue. I
That's
list mine, bam, it gets taken off. So I knew I was taking a risk with it, and it didn't pay off. So I would say be careful of that stuff. The only
I
other thing
picked up a Microsoft Office last Sunday for a couple of quid, but it was the retail version
well, that's
anyway.
fine.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Retail and home is fine.
yeah.
So those ones are not a problem. But yeah,
I was just going to say, if Joe is still watching, is he going to cash in on his got a box of Pokemon cards that he's been hoarding. I just wanted to know if he's going to cash those in while Pokemon is hot property or not.
Yeah, yeah, he's still in the chat, so I'm sure he can answer that. I'm pretty sure he's still in the chat. Let's have a look. What other questions have we got? Oh God, it is happening. There's quite a few questions, and people are actually using the question thing, which is quite good. But now I've got to go back. Here we go. Steve Andrews, just a quick comment, says, hi, Nick, just to say thanks for your advice on the Playmobil stuff. Got some great bundles from it. So that was just a nice message for you there.
No problem. Yeah. My pleasure.
Okay, let's have a look here. Yeah, I'm going to just do the ones where they've actually said question. Okay, Sidejinx asks...
I'm going to have to plug myself in because my battery's running low. Keep going, hold on.
No worries, yeah. Vinyl records, we've answered that question before. Sidejinx, we don't really sell them because they can be quite picky. Like the customers for those can be quite picky. So and they have to be shipped correctly. They can be a bit awkward, and knowing what the knowledge that you need to do well in that area is pretty tough. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it when you go to the boot fairs. The groups of guys that go around looking just for vinyl, you're up against those people that've got that knowledge. So we've answered that one before, but I stay away from it, and I'm pretty sure Nick does as well. Vinyl.
Yeah, most of the time I leave it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. Gary Dunster asks, I have just got top rated seller status on my account. Do you recommend that I go with this, or should I stick with charging postage and packaging separate? What do you think?
Well, I add postage on. Oh, I'm breaking up. Am I?
You're not in sync at the moment, but I can hear you okay. Yeah, you don't seem to be in sync.
Something's gone funny.
Yeah, something has gone funny. Maybe it'll catch up.
I'll try and answer that. I still add postage on top, even though I'm top rated, and I know I would get that bit of extra discount, but it works for me on most of my stuff, adding postage on, apart from media and some smaller items. But that's my choice. That's how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Gary, what you've got to do is, what you've got to remember with the top rated seller status, you can pick and choose on what items you have that on. Ice cream man.
Did you hear that? Yeah, it's the ice cream van pulling up outside. Who wants the 99? Anybody?
It's got a banging sound system on there. But yeah, Gary, I think the thing is, you can still benefit from your top rated seller status, but just pick and choose on what items you want to benefit from. So for example, if you're selling an item in a really busy category, then you may need to offer free postage. So for example, a lot of people that sell clothes will, or especially when they're selling run-of-the-mill brands, will offer free postage just because otherwise they're not going to be competitive. So in that case, you would benefit from your top rated seller status. But if you're selling something that's unique or that's heavy that you want to charge postage for, just charge postage for it. That's what I do now. I don't hold too much onto that. Let's have a look here. Did the Prince jacket sell? David, no, the Prince jacket hasn't sold yet. It's still for sale. I am asking 4 times what I paid for it, however, so I'm prepared to wait.
How much did you list it for in the end, and how much did you pay?
Well, I paid about 100 with fees, so I think it was about 100. I've got it up for 400. So
have you had any cheeky offers, or have you not got offer on that?
No, I get the odd watcher, but I've not had any offers on it yet. But I'm kind of prepared to.
Is that on the GSP? Is that eligible for GSP?
Oh, it's worldwide shipping. I don't know if it's on GSP or not. It probably is on GSP and it's on worldwide. So there's no worries about that. It's just about, I think it's the kind of item that you could be holding on to for like a year until the right person comes along and is willing to pay silly money for it. I could drop it and sell it, but it's I like having it. I really like having it. It's a really nice thing.
I think we've all got things like that, but we're not that bothered if it sells.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's there, and we could cash it in for a couple of hundred if we really need to. But we're holding
Yeah,
out.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a really nice, made in France Converse jacket. It's lovely. Ryan Brown has asked quite an interesting question. Is it better to avoid Hermes on ethical grounds, considering their employees make less than minimum wage and practically have no rights as proper employees and terrible working conditions? What do you say to that, Nick?
I'm afraid as a business, I go for where the value is, and Hermes offer me that. So yeah, it's as cold as that, I'm afraid. I'm not. I mean, I don't know what the options are. I mean, I've been using Hermes. I use Royal Mail for 90% of my stuff anyway, if not 95%. It's only big stuff I send by Hermes, so I don't churn all of my stuff through them. But yeah, I didn't know that they're underpaying their staff or anything anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite an interesting one because I did actually see, I think, or was it on the radio that I heard that Uber and Hermes staff are looking to take these guys to court because they technically are arguing they shouldn't be classed as self-employed because they only get their income from Hermes or Uber.
Oh,
So they
so
kind of, yeah.
same as the Uber thing that's going through court now, then.
That's the similar idea. I don't know if Hermes are taking it to court, but it's the same idea, isn't it? Where they're all self-employed, all the drivers. Again, it's a difficult one because I do use them an awful lot. I do feel that it's out of order, and yeah, I did. It does make me feel bad, but it's
With that, though, I mean, laws are in place to protect the workforce. You've got the minimum wage, you have all of the standards, and if they're not adhering to it, they will, have to pay up, and they will have to sort it out. So
but that's how
I
they get
think
around it, isn't it,
you have
Nick?
to
By
have.
making them self-employed.
Well,
That
in that case, I don't know if they're acting within the law. Then those that are taking that job on and knowing how they could be fleeced are taking that risk. To be perfectly blunt, I'm not saying it's right. But you know what I mean? Being
yeah, it's
self-employed isn't easy, whether you're getting all your work from one source or doing it how we do. So yeah, I can see how they'd be open to abuse.
Yeah, it is an awkward one, really, but I'm going to continue to use them because they are offering good prices. So, obviously, if that stops, then I'll change. It does come down to cash in the end, doesn't it? Let's have a look. What other questions? Okay, question from Stacy Lee Langley. Have you used FreeCycle or Freegal to get stock? Thinking of trying it. Personally, I've not used it. I did actually sign up to one or both of those. I've never really used it because, again, it's yet another avenue of getting stock, isn't it? So, and again, some people would also have like a moral objection to that. If they're handing it out free, they might not want it to go to a dealer. But personally, that's not the reason why I've not used it. I've not used it because, like we talked about earlier, it's yet another thing to get stock from. What about you, Nick?
Sorry, I'm aware that it's very noisy with the trains right now. It's rush hour, and
Hi, it's
um,
cool.
I've used it for my own personal use. I've had things off there like DIY stuff and bulky stuff, but I haven't picked up off Free Cycle to resell. Not that I wouldn't. I don't think. I think if there was an amazing opportunity there, I would. But no, I haven't done.
Yeah. Stephen Moore asked, do you still use Weller's auctions here? All my recent pickups have been from Weller's, so yep. They moved back down to Guildford, so if you're able to travel there, it's definitely worth going there. But also, I mean, this is something I was meant to be making a video about like the mindset of auctions and how to approach them. Don't always just go for what's the most easily accessible. Companies like Weller are smart, and so are many other auction houses, just like the one where Nick is as well. They're very smart nowadays, and they have their auctions available online, so people can bid online. People can even bid online who don't live near the auction house, and get the items shipped to them for a lot of money. So what you're getting is you're getting a lot more collectors of items bidding, who will obviously pay a lot more than you will as a reseller. So when you're looking at auctions, try to find auctions that are local knowledge, that don't offer on an online bidding platform, because that's going to massively boost up how much you're paying. Ideally, you want to find an auction that's just local. You can only benefit from it by going there physically, and bidding, because not only are you going to be getting a lot better in pricing, they often tend to be cheaper with their charges as well. So, I'd put that out there.
Yeah,
Right.
I think auctions like that are just going to become more and more hard to find because everything is moving internet based, isn't it? So, and if I ran an auction house, I'd be trying to implement that because you can see how it would benefit them. So, yeah, I think you're right. Try and hunt them out, but I think they'll be thin on the ground. There used to be a good one right in Hitchin, and they went under. They just closed down, which was such a shame for us. That was right back when we started this back in 2001. And it closed in about the time we set up our first shop, about 2003. I think it shut down, which was a bugger.
It's always annoying when that happens, if you get a good source. Mike, the only way is thrifting asks, do you think eBay could ever disappear as a selling platform? Or alternatively, the scammers and everything else bad, else got that bad, the sellers started to boycott the site and move to alternatives? Eventually, I'm sure there will be something else, or, at some point, but I mean, it's hard to see, really. I don't think it would. I mean, of course, it could disappear. Anything can disappear. I mean, they can make some bad. All it needs is for them to make some bad decisions, and they could lose. And for another company to come in and take advantage of those bad decisions, and they'll lose. But it's a bit, yeah.
I can't see it. I mean, that it's so massive. I mean, it's a global mega corp now. It's like huge, and it's so entrenched, and there's so many businesses running on it. And I, I would take an awful lot for that to be superseded by something. I mean, we know they've got Amazon as a rival, and they're chipping away at each other. But I can't see that there's room for another person to come in and leapfrog those, to be honest. I'd be really surprised anyway. Obviously, I don't want it to happen either.
No, no, of course not. Um, Orenthal says, I think the NES Mini will go the exact same way as the Atari Flashback or Sega Mega Drive reactor. After the initial few months of hype, they'll drop down and people will still want the originals. I think that's quite valid. I think, again, with the NES Mini, you've got to take advantage of it whilst people want it. But yes, you're right. Eventually, collectors and gamers will want the original NES, not like a, cheap knockoff plastic mini thing
Yeah,
that's going to be
this
produced
won't
in.
affect. I don't think this will
Yeah,
affect the value of
no,
the vehicles at all. If anything, it will increase awareness and increase people's desire to
to have the original.
that, and it will bring it to the mind of people that haven't become a retro freak yet, and then they'll go back and source. I think, if anything, this will boost the retro market. I wouldn't worry about prices at all.
Joe says he needs to get a good hand puppet to be on screen to speak for me if he does a chat with us. Happy to give it a go at some stage. So yeah, we just need a hand puppet for Joe.
Joe said what? Sorry, you went all like robotic on me.
Oh shit! Don't tell me it's gone all again. Let
No,
me.
not your headset. I think it was the lag.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, he goes. He needs to get a good hand puppet to be on the screen to speak for him if he does a chat with us. But he's happy to give it a go. Maybe we should get him like a sooty. Get him a sooty puppet.
A paper bag with eye holes.
Oh yeah, paper bag with eye holes would do. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Silver Hair Stacker asks, have you loads of Star Trek items to sell after all Star Trek Beyond starts today? Not me personally. I don't get into current things. It's just not my cup of tea. So no, not for me. Nick, what about yourself? Any Star Trek merch that you've got to list?
Like a Dalek. It's not.
Yeah, you've frozen, unfortunately.
Oh, no, I haven't got.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
I've frozen now.
Yeah, you'd frozen.
Oh God, because
Yeah.
you were a minute ago.
No, it must have been the
Actually going
connection.
out.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, so it's not something you've gotten into. The Star
No, I
Trek.
don't have any. I certainly haven't stockpiled any. I don't know much about Star Trek anyway, so I don't know what to look for that's particularly collectible or anything. I've never watched the show, so I don't feel that comfortable with it, as opposed to Star Wars, which I was kind of grown up on. So
Fair
yeah, I'm
enough,
more
fair enough.
comfortable with that.
By the way, guys, we've got 94 people watching, so thank you very much for that. That's insane.
Wow.
33 thumbs up. So
Welcome, guys. Yeah,
yeah,
please all give
just
us a thumbs up. Let's see if we can beat some thumbs up record. I don't know
yeah.
if we've ever had this over 100 viewers either. I think that's
I
the
don't know if we've no, I don't think we've hit 100 yet. We've been close. David McGregor says, I think Trolls will be one of the must-have Christmas toys this year. New film being released in November with a massive toy line. The old ones will start becoming desirable, I reckon. Start buying bundles. That's pretty good advice there from David McGregor there.
So this is the new film based on the old 1980s little gonk things with hair then?
I,
Is that,
by the
am I
sounds
thinking
of
about
it,
the right things?
I think he means the Trolls. Yeah, you know those ugly little ones with the pink, red, blue hair and
Yeah.
pencil choppers and all that
Why are
kind of.
they called gonks though? Or was that just
I
in
don't
my
know.
we call them gonks?
Maybe I don't know. I've just called them trolls. Heather Wood says, "Hey guys, love these live chats. So informative and common sense too." Yeah,
Wow.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
I've got a
Okay.
T-shirt. I don't know what I've done with it that says, what does it say? Common sense should be called a superpower or something. I'll have to dig that shirt out.
Andrew Wilkinson says, Nick, you seem to have plenty of room as work from the back of the shop. But Zaheer, have you ever considered rental storage when space runs out? Um, yes, I've considered that. We're when we move, we're going to see what the space situation is like. And I think if we can afford it, we probably would go to some kind of storage for a number of reasons. You want your house to look like a house. It gets very tiring. Not for me personally, but my wife gets quite frustrated, to put it kindly, in terms of what happens to your house when you're reselling.
Hmm.
I mean, I shouldn't do this, but there you go. That is my dining table. Just I don't know if you can see it there. That's my dining table with a sheet and a bunch of stuff all over it. It's not how it should be. So I would consider it definitely. About
Yeah,
you,
when
Nick?
when we started this in 2001 and went full time, we'd just had our daughter Ellen, and we were renting a place then, a house, and it was a two up, two down, and the place was just filled. It was ridiculous, and we had this toddler wandering around, well, crawling around, just piles and piles of stuff. And that was when we expanded our business into a retail outlet because we then had the space and the storage plus another way to get stock, and that's when it all took off for us. So yeah, I can understand where people are at when they've not got a lot of space. And reselling, you naturally accumulate stuff. No matter how hard you try, you will accumulate stuff in
Yeah.
piles.
And you're never going to sell everything. I mean, you're going to find that you're going to be out there buying things at the time. You're going to be like, this I know is going to sell. And you'll buy it and it just won't sell as quickly as you thought. And you're going to be lumbered with a bunch of this stuff that you thought was going to sell instantly, but it doesn't. And at the same time, you're going to buy things that you'll think, oh, why have I bought this? That's never going to sell. And randomly, that item will sell. There's no rhyme or reason to that. So you need
Yeah.
space. You need
And you'd
space.
also buy things that need something gluing back on,
Oh,
that need testing, that need cleaning, that
oh,
need, oh, it's missing one bit. I'm going to wait until I find that
find
bit.
it.
And I've got so many of these sort of items, and I need to purge really soon. I need to purge electricals. Oh, that it's going to have a go at me about VHSs in a second. I guarantee it. But I need to purge electricals because that's one thing I buy because I know the money's there, and then I don't test them, and they sit, and it. Oh,
I tell you what, I was quite proud of myself. I listed both my Lego lots just as
yeah.
incomplete as they were. So I just did those yesterday, actually. So
So
was
what
it
the
yesterday?
Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
What did you start that? Did you do it
I've
on a by now?
I've
Yeah.
got it. Yeah, I've got it up at like 69 or something, or 65.
Oh,
So because it's got no figures, nothing. So as is.
so you're selling it as maybe not complete then.
No, I'm saying it's definitely not complete. Definitely
Right.
incomplete, no figures, that kind of thing. And then the motorbike that I paid a fiver for, I did the same thing, and someone bought it off me, global shipping for 40 quid, but he hasn't paid, so I don't know what's gonna happen with that. So yeah, it's one of those things you've got to keep on top of it. I mean, I've got 3 of these really good Logitech steering wheels that I bought. They all work. I know they all work, but I haven't got any power supplies for them. So I've always been, if I can find a power supply, or I keep on thinking I'm going to buy one from eBay and then sell them. I've just got these steering wheels taking up so much space. It's little things like that.
Yeah,
Sean Longley has managed to get in a nice little comment here. Thought you were both wearing Chewy masks, you scruffy. And then he uses a word.
Who said that?
Bar stewards. Sean.
Sean.
Yeah,
You
thought you were
guy.
both wearing Chewy masks. Scruffy bar stewards, you cheeky gits. That's quite funny.
This is the perk of being self-employed. I don't have to scrape my skin off my face every morning.
Exactly. Ben Cisco asks, do eBay and Amazon's tax arrangements piss you off based in Luxembourg, considering how high their fees are? My answer to that is no. It's their business. They can do what they want. I just want to get on and do what I'm doing. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, to be fair, it does get my goat a bit that these big companies just find ways because they're based here, they can pay zero or a different tax when the sales are going through in this country. I think that needs to be clamped down on. But yeah, let's not go political.
Yeah. I mean, differing points of view there. I don't care, to be honest. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to do it anyway. Stephen Moore says, I had a Colditz board game taken down because of the Nazi logo. Yes, if anytime you list that, you've got to make sure you cover up any logos that could be considered offensive. Let's have a look. I had a couple of times.
I had a chat with a guy at Boot Sale last weekend, actually, who used to sell gollywogs on eBay and used to make a fortune doing it. He'd buy up job lots and house clearance and what have you.
Yeah.
And yeah, a while back, I don't know how long ago it was now, but they refused to allow anything gollywog to be listed because of the racist connotations.
Yeah. Now they go at boot fairs for like no money because everyone knows that you can't.
Killed the market.
Yeah, no one. Sphinx asks, any tips on international selling? Nick?
I I switched all mine to global shipping program, and that's kind of as far as I get involved. We were talking about this when we started, so if you've just joined the chat, it might be worth rewatching it when it's on my channel later. But yeah, it is worth doing because obviously you're opening yourself up. Sorry, noisy train. You're opening yourself up to millions and millions more customers. I've just been quite lazy with it, to be honest, but that suits me right now. But yeah, Zaheer does it slightly differently, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I use GSP, but then I also just send stuff. I'll send stuff anywhere. I'll send it. I'll just send it. That's it. It doesn't.
That works.
Yeah, that's it. If you want it there, I'll send it to you as long as you're willing to pay for it. And just be brave. Send it tracked. Don't because often what will happen is sometimes international buyers will ask you, like what's the cheapest postage. I never send them the cheapest postage. I always send them tracked postage because if I'm sending it to you, I want to know that I'm covered. So
yeah, I think I'm still getting over being stung many times. A couple of years back, I had international on all my stuff. If it was a cheap item, I wouldn't add tracked on it because it would be like a tenner or whatever to send an item that you're selling for a tenner, and it just seemed ridiculous. So I put a cheaper option to hopefully attract international sales, and I got stung on that so many times. Mainly, this is only my experience, but Italy, Spain, Portugal. Seriously, half the stuff I would send to those countries would mysteriously disappear in the post, and I got so wound up with it that I stopped doing international for a while, and then when GSP came out, I just clicked that on, and I haven't really done anything different since. Because with GSP, once it gets to the Derbyshire warehouse, that's my job done, and then everything's sent tracked by eBay, so it makes my life easier. So that's where I'm at anyway.
Fair enough. Gary Dunster asks, do you sell games that say not for resale? So, for example, promo copies of games, things like that. Nick, you would have quite a lot of experience in that.
Yeah, I've done loads. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Yeah, it should be no problem. Can't see any reason for it to be a problem. Bernard Armstrong says, I have been having problems with selling stuff. Can't think of what's wrong. So could any one of you have? Oh, okay. It's just looking for some feedback. He's looking at his shop. Okay. Well, I mean,
I get that sort of question a lot to my Facebook and on my comments in videos, it's like, I'm struggling to sell stuff. What's wrong? It's either going to be you're selling the wrong items, so there's no demand, or your price is too high, so people are buying other people's stuff. That's kind of all it comes down to. Or the only other thing that it could be really is that you've got terrible pictures and a terrible description. If you've got an item that has demand, you're pricing it right, and your listing looks good, you're in the same boat as the rest of us, and we can sell stuff. So, you know, you just need to look at what you're selling and how you're selling it. That's all it can be.
That's it. Yeah. Stephen Moore, I did answer your question. I think I do use Wellers. Yes. Well, I won't anymore, but I was using it. Anne Hamilton asks that I would also be interested in learning about international shipping. Does anyone know anything about receiving free packaging? See, they get some in the US. Can we get it free in the UK? No, unfortunately, as far as I know, there's no USPS style free packaging for us here in the UK. You have to source your own packaging. As long as you can get a hold of enough cardboard, recycled cardboard, it will do the job. Just wrap it around what you're selling and tape the crap out of it, and that should, in most cases, make sure that your item gets safely through. Anything to add to that, Nick?
I saw Margaret talking about something
Yeah.
in America. This is Texas Girl Treasures, where eBay have their own packing supplies that sellers can get. I don't know if it was for free or at a discounted rate. I think
Yeah.
you were given credits for it or something, but they've not, as far as I know, they've not rolled that
Yeah.
out in the UK, have they yet?
Well, actually, what you're talking about is they haven't done it here in the UK, and they do buy it, but it's at a reduced rate. But even the United States Postal Service, you can actually just order free boxes from them of all different sizes. Or when you go to your local USPS, you can just pick up boxes of different sizes for free. It's like part of their service. Obviously, we don't have anything like that, unfortunately. So just about getting hold of cardboard. Let's have a look. Silverhair Stacker says, I want to sell both of my son's Pokemon stuff from the 1980s still in their closets. Lol. Well, I mean, I would have thought that would be a bit naughty. And plus, wasn't it 90s?
Yeah, 98, I think the
Yeah.
first game came out.
Yeah. And Joe has answered your question. He's tempted. There's a bit of chat in GGG about how now is a good time to sell. Thing is, they're spiking at the moment, but have been steadily increasing for years. So we'll keep. He's keeping all his Pokemons.
He's a hoarder at heart, is
He is
our Joe.
he is. Or when it comes to retro games, I mean, and to be honest with you, if I'd amassed that amount of stuff, it would become hard to let it go. Just seeing them all lined up. If I was ever feeling down, I'd pull out that drawer from under my bed and just look at all these yellow Pokemon carts and red ones, and I'd be like,
Well,
I feel better now.
that's the collector and
Yeah.
the hoarder in all of us, really. I tend to keep that under wraps and keep managing that. Tom, on the other hand, if Tom's
Oh,
watching,
yeah.
he's the other extreme. Tom's got quite a growing retro gaming collection as well.
Yeah. I actually, saying that, I was in my stock room, and I was getting rid of all these bags and there's stuff on the floor, and I uncovered an N64, and that felt really good. I'd forgotten that I had it, and I uncovered an N64 with the
No,
memory expansion, and I was like, oh, that's, maybe I should keep it because I've had it this long without knowing.
I picked up some Super Nintendo stuff on Sunday. I haven't released the Sunday haul video yet, but I
Yeah.
think I actually overpaid. What it was Japanese import stuff, and I've kind
Right.
of been stung on these before because they look like they're so rare and valuable, Jap import SNES stuff, but they're not. I got a Dragon Quest 6 boxed, complete with inserts. Only seems to sell for about a tenner, and that's about what I paid for it. I did. I was drawn in by this game called Parodius, which is it's like a parody on Gradius, where you're a little octopus, a little pink octopus, and I imported this myself from Japan in 1992. So I was just so had to buy it, and it was yeah. I paid 25 quid for 7 Jap import games, and I think they're worth about 25 quid.
Oh. Well, I mean, you can keep them. They look cool. I love Jap games as well, especially for the Sega Saturn. Let's have a look. Question. Karen Barn asks, question, do you pay to promote listings, and how many listings do you aim to add a day? I don't pay to promote listings on eBay or on anything else. And how many do you aim to do a day? Well, at the moment, it's about 0. But from about a week and a half, 2 weeks onwards, we're going to be aiming to add at least 20 listings a day, minimum. That will be the aim, because that's when me and my wife are going to be doing this full time. So an absolute bare minimum of 20 a day. That's going to be the plan. Or what about for yourself, Nick?
I don't pay to promote
Yeah.
listings. I don't really know what that's all about. And as far as listing goes, it's as many as I can fit in around all the other crap I'm doing. But yeah, my time is split between sending off FBA boxes and eBay and managing the shop. So it's a juggling act really. But yeah, the answer would have to be as many as you can fit in. It's, I suppose, useless answer, but simple.
Johnny Seed asks, Nick, have you still got all that sports gear in the attic?
Of course I have.
Of
Yeah,
course he has. Of
all we've
course.
sold out of that is we took out all the kids' swimwear and sold it through in the shop. But yeah, there's 7 or 8 boxfuls in the loft. It's crazy.
Ryan Brown asks, have you ever found valuable car boot stock abandoned by the bins for free? Um, I've never really been around that late at a boot fair to get all the stuff that people leave behind. But Nick definitely hangs around late enough for people to almost give it away, right?
Yeah, I've never hung around the bins and lifted it out of the bins. I'm not,
No.
but I do see people doing that. One where I go to, there is a big skip where you can dump your stuff if you need to, and there's guys that are boot sale resellers who hoik it out and then bring it back next week. Sorry, that's Monty making noise. What was the other question? Oh yeah, but I do sometimes if you're there at the end of a boot sale, people really drastically reduce the prices. Again, in my haul video that will be released soon, I got a stack of PS1 games, about 20 plus for a tenner, and another stack of original Xbox games for £3 the lot. Just because he didn't want to take it away, and he openly said that he was happy to just get rid. So that paid off. And there was an odd world in the PS1 stuff, so that should pay for the whole investment anyway.
Fair enough. Um, Here's
Oh,
another
your
one.
headset's
Oh, is my headset gone again?
gone all
Sodding
crackly.
headset. Hey, is it better now?
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm gonna
Can
bin
I
it
come
one.
around and set fire to it
I
for
think
you?
I might. Yeah, I think you should. It's rubbish. Okay. Peter Stride asks, do you guys have business insurance on your vehicles? Do you think most resellers do? Um, you can obviously put things like social, domestic, and pleasure on, but that's not going to cover you for carrying your stock. So, God forbid, if you were in an accident and all your stock you'd purchased was destroyed, you're not going to be covered for that. Um,
Yeah.
so,
And you might not be covered for all the third party if they
yeah.
prove that you were going to a car boot sale for business purposes and you weren't technically insured, you could be in a whole lot of shit. So yes, and yes, you should.
Yeah, definitely.
I've just had a text. So Steve, Shamon.
my my phone's not getting into that. Um,
Oh come
anyway,
on, Z, give us a quick Shamon.
oh no, not now. I'm too hot. Like,
Dear.
hi
if,
guys, great
if
video.
people only knew what we were like on that messenger chat, Z.
um, Hi guys, great video as always. Question: what is the best way to sell and post cigarette cards? Need to clear out a bit. Nick, I think you've got some experience with this. I've never really
Yeah, I
dealt
bought and
with.
sold quite a lot over the years. If you're selling a set, I tend to do them in those sleeves where it's a 10 pocket sleeve page, and then sandwich that in between. Either use a hard backed envelope or sandwich it between cardboard. If it's cheap stuff, you can just do them in a little wadge and maybe put a bit of foam wrap around them. But expensive stuff, I tend to put in the wallets and then put in a card backed envelope. Depends how much it's worth really to how much length you want to go to show you've provided enough care, I think, if that makes sense.
Okay. Um, let's have a look here. Yeah, Joe says he's got 55 Nintendo Game and Watch. Joking aside, he will just keep it all for years. Fits in 4 shoe boxes. So yeah, definitely. David McGregor asked question: how is the shop going, Nick? And did Andrea abandon doing videos?
Yeah, Andrea did plan to get into it, but I think it's just not something she enjoys. So she has to kind of push herself to do it. And she's so busy all the time, it just hasn't happened. So I don't know. She may get involved again. The shop, I think I said last week I need to do an update video. So I will do an update video to fill you all in on exactly what's going on with that. There is news.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll do a separate video because there's a lot to talk about.
I don't know if this is a real username, but it's awesome. I think it's Turd for Life. It's TD for life. But does that mean turd for life? I don't know.
That's just
Okay.
your mind.
Yes, my mind always goes to anything with any words with T and D. It just goes to turd. Okay. Question, Nick, did you sell the football tops you picked up a while back, and did they sell at a good price? Because they can be up and down price wise.
Oh, we had this question earlier, and no, I've washed the ones that need washing, and haven't listed any of them.
Um, Kieran Hewitt asks, have you ever sold gold or silver bullion?
No,
No, neither have I. Yeah. Okay.
I've sold tiny bits of jewelry I picked up. I actually picked up a really nice. Oh, I might have it on me. A while back, I picked this up in like a little junk pot on a table, and I took it somewhere and had it valued and checked out. It's a little Celtic gold cross, and I paid next to nothing. I think I paid 50p for a handful of bits and bobs, and the guy in the shop reckoned that's about 50 quid pendant. I can't remember. I did write it down what the gold is. I know nothing about this. Tom is your man for gold and silver. He told me it's a 9 carat full English hallmark Celtic cross. So that was a
Nice.
pretty good 50p investment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Um, Margaret is in the house. Texas Gal Treasures. Hello, all, she says, and hi, hey to us. So hello, Margaret.
Hi
Um,
Margaret. How is the big clear out doing?
yeah,
Drop us a comment. Let us know how you're doing with your sort out. She's on a mission.
she is. I've done a lot there, actually. There's a lot to go through, wasn't there? Retrocable.com says, guys, do you know anything about Sendle.ru? It's cloning UK eBay listings and offering them for sale in Russia for a 50% markup. Have posted in the resellers forum. I've not seen about that yet, but what do they buy off us and then sell it on to their customers for the markup? I mean, I don't know. That's if that's what they're doing, then I'm not sure what to say about that.
That's news to me.
Yeah,
I'll have to look into that one. Sounds
definitely.
slightly dodgy, but I'm sure it's all above board. But it sounds a bit dodgy that they're basically lifting listings off eBay and putting them on their own site and selling them to Russia. Is that what he's saying?
Well, I think I think they just like they put our products up for sale. Maybe do they buy them from us and then sell them? I don't know. We'll
No.
see what happens. I don't know. Maybe we go through their website and they add a charge. God knows.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's have a look. Julie Hall says, Nick, I bought some dermal cream that you showed. When I listed it, eBay took it down because it breached the policy. Has this ever happened to you? Nick, you actually mentioned this earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, we were talking about eBay taking down things because of it was more to do with copyright stuff, wasn't it? And I mentioned then that when I listed my dermal cream, I ended up doing 3 lots of 2, and eBay sent me a message saying we've had to take the listing down or the listings down because it is pharmacy only issued stuff. You know what I mean? You have to have a I can't get my words out. You have to get it issued by the doctor essentially. But they all sold. I then got the sales notifications come in after that message. So I don't know how that worked. But yeah, I did put out a little message earlier. Don't buy that on my recommendation because you can't list it technically. Although I searched this. This is the annoying thing about this. When I was buying it, I sloped off, had a quick look. Oh yeah, there's money in that. Loads completed on eBay. So you go and pick it up, assuming it's fine to sell on eBay because loads of other people have. But I've been caught out a number of times by that sort of thing. I got caught out with some quit smoking things that looked like cigarettes. You can't sell them on eBay either.
Yeah. Okay. Question from Ziggy95. It's 7:25, so we're gonna have to wrap up soon.
Oh, are we?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah. Question for you, Nick, from Ziggy95. Have you found your business has increased since you started doing your regular videos? That's an interesting.
I don't think the videos have had any effect on my business. Certainly hasn't increased it. I don't know. I mean, I don't actively promote my eBay on here, and I've never done that. I don't see that's the point. I don't make the videos to promote my business. I make the videos to share what I do. Sorry, the trains are so noisy again behind me.
Oh
In
gosh.
fact, going back to that, some people would say that I've affected my business negatively by talking about it. But
That was quite a positive way of looking at it, wasn't it? Quite good.
yeah,
Julie Hall says, have you noticed an increase in global sales since Brexit with the value of the pound? Most of my sales have gone on global shipping this week. A lot of items that have been hanging around for ages. Um, I've not noticed any more or less. I always tend to sell. I sell to abroad quite a lot. I think. I don't know the exact percentages. It just feels that way. I think it just comes down to what you're selling as well. So it's not always external influences. So obviously, if the pound is weaker, then it will, maybe make buying decisions for some people. But so I think some of it just comes down to what you have and whether people in other countries can get hold of it.
yeah. I don't think I've seen much of an increase on eBay. I tend to get a fair amount of GSP sales, and it kind of averages it out over the months, really. But on Amazon, I have seen a bit of a spike. A lot of stuff going to Europe from my Amazon listings. So that's certainly picked up since the Brexit thing because of the exchange rate. I can only assume.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Bernard Armstrong asks, Nick, packaging board games question. On eBay, how do you package your board games? Example, do you use bubble wrap? You've made a
No.
video about this, haven't you? Like yonks
Yeah.
ago?
Well, it comes down to the board game itself. If it's like a modern like articulate that is in one of those sturdy boxes, I will just brown paper it and send it out. If it's like one of those old big monopolies in one of those sort of squidgy wiggly boxes, I'd put a what I would do is just put a cardboard all the way around it and then send it like that. But most of the board games that I send out, I just put brown paper around them. I don't bubble wrap them as well. And in all the years I've been doing it, I've not had any comeback.
Nick, I should just tell you, we've hit 100 watches,
Oh yeah, sweet. Oh,
61 thumbs up.
as I said that, it went to 99.
Yeah, just as we've said that. It was at 100 for a bit. Beck, are you watching it? Watch it.
Hi Beck, by the way. Hello, can you hear me?
She's so yeah. I mean, uh, packaging is very much you pick it up as you go along, really, don't you? It's another one of those things that once you get a feel for it, you'll know exactly what to do with whatever you're faced with. I think that comes with just experience. So now I can pretty much look at any item and I'll know instantly what I'm going to do to package it. And so it does get easier, even though at first it was very time consuming.
Yeah, and I think that the lengths you go to package are relative to how many things have been smashed in the post. You know what I mean? Once you have a few mugs or whatever it is that have just arrived in bits, your packaging then changes accordingly.
David Morse asks, what's the longest you've had an item sat at Amazon at FBA?
Well, I've only been doing Amazon for I don't about a year, not even a year, maybe. So about a year. I think
Oh,
a couple of things from my first shipment are still sat there. A couple of really random things I was just trying out. So yeah,
I actually, yeah, I got an email about that. I've had a couple of items there for a year, so just ignore it, and because as long as there's not multiples of them, it doesn't matter, does it? So let's have a look. Alistair Elliott asks, which charity shops are best in terms of brands of shop? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but yeah, I'm just not sure what you mean by that. Sorry.
I think with charity shops, the general consensus is those nationwide ones that we all see, Cancer Research, British Heart Foundation, prices have been steadily rising, and it's kind of, I think it comes from above their pricing structure. But if you've got a local, like around here, we've got some hospice shops that are literally a team of local people and volunteers who don't have targets and don't have memos coming down about how much to price your CDs for, etc. Sorry, trains again. It's so noisy here. They're the ones that I find the better stuff in, more competitively priced, are your local charity shops that don't have a head office that dictate how much they have to make. So I think that's a good distinction to make.
Definitely. Let's have a look. Are some charity shops expensive, some cheap? Yes, Alistair, definitely. You'll notice a variation price, just like Nic has said. It is always going to be like the big names that charge a bit more. Let's have a look. Mir Cameron Ali says, if items don't sell on Amazon after a year, will you get your stock back from FBA or will you let it go for a long time? I think it depends on the item, doesn't it? I mean, if it's like a really rare book that's worth a lot of money, you'd probably still leave it up there, even if it took more than a year to sell. If you picked it up for like £1 and maybe you were asking 50 or 100 quid for it, you know.
Yeah, well, Tom proves time and time again that really insanely valued books and obscure things with 2 million ranks do sell. He sold something recently that he shared with me that was crazy money for a book. But I don't know. I mean, my stuff's coming up to a year soon, so I guess I'll be getting emails about it and I'll just assess it item by item, I think. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not really the FBA man. I'm giving it a good old go and I'm learning as I go, but I haven't had that much experience really, so not sure I'm the person to ask.
Peter Stride asks, how long do you spend checking items are complete at car boots? That's a good question, actually, because obviously you're in a hurry to get around. Often I don't really check in great detail. Obviously, if it's an expensive item, I'll be a bit more careful. But most of the time, when people are asking you for a quid or something for something, you just in the bag it goes, and off you go to the next stall. But what about you, Nic?
Yeah, pretty much the same. If the price is right, I'll just go for it. Certain ones, like Cluedo, I bought so many Cluedos over the years. I know exactly what should be there, and you can count them in like 30 seconds. But most things, it would be detrimental to your time too much to check all the parts. So
Exactly.
yeah, most stuff I just pick up and go. And also, I've got little tubs of spares, and I've even got stacks of actual board games that are incomplete that I use as donor games. So not all, but most games I can bring back to the office and complete if it's missing one or two bits anyway. So if you do get into toys and games, you will soon build up a stack of incomplete ones. Don't bin them, just keep them for spares. That's what I do.
Okay, guys. I think we're gonna have to call it a day now. It's
Yeah,
7:30. So
yeah.
it's been really good. Lots of questions. I'm getting better, I hope, at keeping on top of it. But I think putting question in before is quite good. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate Mr. Tech Guru with his dodgy headset.
I tell you what, this headset is just. I'm so angry at it. It's let me down. Something wrong somewhere. Yeah, it
Well,
works fine though.
yeah, most of the time, and then all of a sudden you just turn into a Dalek.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, thanks for everyone watching today. Still got 93 people watching and 65 thumbs up, so really appreciate it. And thanks to Nic for like letting me be on this chat with him.
No,
It's a good
I
laugh.
appreciate
Yeah.
you coming on and trying to keep up with the chat.
No,
Well, till next time, don't go injuring yourself on skateboards.
I know I won't be. I won't be. I'm gonna be a bit busy now. I think I may have to think about putting the shop on the slow down from next week, maybe from Monday, and we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
I'll be thinking of you packing everything up and
Oh
sorting
God
everything out.
Almighty! Yeah.
I don't envy that task at
No, no,
all.
no, no, you shouldn't. All right.
Okay, nice chatting to you, buddy, and
Thanks,
thanks to
everyone.
everyone for watching and commenting. We'll see you next week.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, can't find the button. Hold on, hold on. It's going, it's going. Here we go.